My name is Maria Five. Welcome back to my channel. Better late than never, right? Today we are going to be talking about Lessons in Chemistry. It's already out, either Apple TV or Netflix. I waited for this book. I'm not kidding you, 8 months for the library before I could finally read it. And wow, but before we get into that, let's talk about the tea and the makes. I have my tea latte here with my Ahmed tea. This is quite a smoky tea. It's really dark and it's a black tea. It's really dark, really smoky. And I've just added some more, like stirred that cinnamon in and added some more cinnamon. And it's just absolutely amazing. Okay, that makes. So first, I would talk about these earrings actually because I made them. And when I say I made them, I mean I made them. I made the glass beads and everything. I don't know if you can see them in the light, but yeah, it's a course, a class, and I don't remember how long it was. It could have been 2 or 3 evenings, but it's in a studio. This was not here. In a studio, and you have rods and you've got glass that you twirl. First you light a little Bunsen burner and then you twirl the glass, you melt the glass, twirl it onto the rod, and then you take these stringers, and I don't know if you can see it, but these stringers, you if you take turquoise and melt it onto any of the glass colors, it goes of this this kind of, what is that, kind of a rusty color. Super amazing. So I thought that was kind of fitting for the chemistry. And I'm not exactly sure why those colors do that. And it's the only one, as far as I know, that does do that. But yeah, it was a lot of fun when I was making glass. And then these are just turquoise beads, just, glass turquoise beads. They're not even, or no, they're not. These are just I have real turquoise, but these are just artificial glass beads made to look like turquoise. So there we have it, some interesting chemistry. And then I have these pot holders, which we will get into later. These were made by a friend of mine who is an absolutely amazing quilter. There's that set and there's this set. Yeah, she is incredibly talented. I'm sure I'll be showing more of her things, but yeah, absolutely amazing. So if you're watching, Shannon, hi. Yeah, so okay. Lessons in Chemistry. Wow, what a read. This was so good. And this was actually, this just reminded me, this was actually in the book. It's a library book, and this was actually in there. And that never happens. Like, you never find bookmarks in books. So I'm going to leave it in there for the next person because I just thought that was just a little bonus. Didn't have to go finding one of mine. Or, scrap of paper, whatever else you've got handy. I've used everything, I'm sure, as a bookmark, including bookmarks. So there we go. Okay, Lessons in Chemistry. Bonnie Garmus. This is an amazing read, and it's already out on film, but I have made a point of not watching it until this is out there. Yeah, this coming Saturday, so I'm sure I will watch it after. But first of all, I rarely will watch a movie if I've read the book, because the book is always better. Now, of course, there are exceptions to that, including every single one of the Harry Potters. I mean, there's been a few. Neil Gaiman's got he's got a few out, actually. But he's got a book called The Graveyard Book that is being made into a movie, so looking forward to that. But we'll see. Yeah, I typically don't, though. Typically, if I've read the book, that's how it is. If I've watched the movie, I will sometimes go and read the book, but the other way around, I would say 99% of the time I'm disappointed. So it's better now these days. We have so much more technology and we can do amazing things graphically, green screens. Yeah, it is actually pretty amazing. However, that's just my general philosophy is if I've read the book, I typically do not watch the film. Okay, so on to that. We have Elizabeth Zott. She is a woman of the 60s, except that she's not She is not even remotely close to the ordinary woman of the 60s. Things were pretty designated back then. This was your role as a female, and she tends to break every single barrier and not confined to social constructs. She's just obviously a pretty amazing woman. And Bonnie Garmus talks about that. She also, she's a rower. Elizabeth Zott is a rower, and Bonnie is a rower. So that's a part of it. Not a huge part, but a large part of it. Yes, rowing. And I've been on a rowing machine, but I have never actually rowed in a boat, either one or two. No, that's not true. I think I can remember with my dad when I was a little kid, when we used to go to the cottage. We had a rowboat actually, but I never rowed. I would just be a passenger with these huge orange life jackets, and he would row. And sometimes it was just me, and sometimes it was me and my sister. But yeah, I have never rowed a boat, I have to say. So maybe that's one for the list. Anyway, Elizabeth Zott is really about chemistry. She's a chemist, but more self-ordained. She never did finish her master's degree due to a sexual encounter that didn't go well for either party, actually, but definitely left some scars on her. So she's kind of self-made. She meets a chemist who's actually won awards. They hit it off. And as he passes away, she discovers she's pregnant. So they never got married, which is like a big taboo in the 60s. So she's single-handedly raising this child, and she is making her lunches for her daughter. And Maddie, that's her daughter, was giving away her lunches because she was being bullied. So Elizabeth Zott marches up to the father of this girl who is taking her lunches, saying, "You need to fix this. You need to start preparing healthy lunches for your daughter. It's not hard, but you're depriving my daughter of the nutrients that she needs to grow." So this father is a TV producer. There's a slot. He needs to fill it. He's like, "You're on. Supper's at 6. So that's how the whole cooking thing comes. And that's why we have these beautiful oven mitts. So she is very, she explains everything in terms of chemistry, not so much about, how to make food. And she tosses out, the Campbell's soup and everything that's full of preservatives and says, we can do better than this. And it's not hard. So she goes on to explain chemistry, and the whole nation is just in awe. Supper's at 6. I can't remember. I think it might start at 4:30 or 4 o'clock, something like that. But everyone shuts down and watches this show because it's that fascinating. Chemistry, when I was in high school, I loved it. I absolutely loved it. More importantly, I loved the experiments that we did, which were all preordained, if you will. This was what we were doing. This is what we were supposed to get for the results. You write everything up in your lab reports, but I really, really enjoyed it. And just chemistry in general, just all the different chemicals, the periodic table, and what went with what and why it went with what, which for me was a really important thing. But yeah, so I understand that real love of chemistry. Now, Bonnie Garmus is not a chemist at all. So it's kind of interesting that she picked this, but she said, her knowledge was nothing. So it's an incredibly good book, really well written. It's funny. There were so many times where I literally laughed out loud. Great book, great ending, great everything. It's please, if you are looking for a good read, pick this up. If you've watched the movie, I haven't watched the movie yet, but if you watch the movie, I guarantee you the book will be better because it's always that way. You can let me know in the comments if you found it otherwise. But yeah, definitely a good read, good writing, and I look forward to more of Bonnie Garmus. She has written other novels, and I will be, I'm sure, picking up another one of those. So thank you so much for joining me, and we will talk to you next time. See you next Saturday. Bye-bye.